It's Sunday. List of things I'm feeling this Sunday. Judgmental, excited, and ready to drag some people's albums. I woke up today and I was like, you know what the internet needs more of? Unsolicited opinions on music. There's clearly not enough of those. Also, I don't know if you can see it, but ignore this portion of my sweater that's like blending into the background. It's getting green screened out, but I figured that was a small price to pay for an otherwise fire fit. Anyway, I'm not going to be dragging everyone's album. I think most of the ones on here are good, but I did have to include my 5 worst albums I've heard in 2024 because, oh man, there were some absolute clunkers that were released this year. In fact, you may be able to guess one of my least favorite albums because I've already talked about it. But yeah, I've got my bottom 5, top 10, and then I have 3 other bonus categories because today the only thing I want to talk about is my niche interests. Also, if you're wondering like, what's the vibe? What's happening here? What's going on with this video? It's Sunday. You're getting Sunday D'Angelo. I put the commentary part of me with the brain cells in a box. And today you're just getting the rest of me, which is pure chaos. And that is our Sunday vibe. So before we get into the albums, I want to start you off with one of my bonus categories. I want to talk about my top 3 EPs. Some of you may be saying, wait, EPs aren't albums. We're starting off whack. But to that, I say the unchecked power has gone to my head and I've rewritten the rules. So I listened to a lot of EPs this year, but my number 3 top pick is Little Vice by Cavetown. You would like Cavetown if you like singer-songwriter music with unique instrumentation, and Little Vice just does such a good job of capturing his sound. The standout track for me would be Glacier Meadow featuring Field Medic. Beautiful stuff, big fan. Moving on, we've got hella music to cover. So my second favorite EP that came out this year, without a doubt, is Club Shy by Shy Girl. Honestly, I like literally every song Shy Girl has released, which is very rare for me. You would like Shy Girl if you like wonky, seedy club music that sounds like it's coming from the future and the past at the same time. And my favorite track was Thick featuring Kosha. Great stuff. Makes me feel like I'm on a runway. Moving on. My number 1 favorite EP that came out this year was A Bit of a Mad One. That's not a turn of phrase. It is actually called A Bit of a Mad One by Glaive. And you would like Glaive if you like energetic, upbeat electronic music. Glaive has a ton of good tracks, but he really got into some sort of experimental vibes here, and I love it. And my favorite track is I Don't Really Feel It Anymore, which ironically I have been feeling all year. I don't really feel it anymore. Great stuff, love it, big fan. Those are my top 3 EPs. Anyway, we've dispensed with the formalities, so let's go ahead and start talking some albums. I will ascend up my top 10 list, but I will also intersperse my bottom 5 at the same time, so stay on your toes. So my number 10 pick for my favorite album this year is Charm by Clairo. You would like Clairo's music if you like soft, slow tracks that have a lot of textures from older music. And my favorite track off of Charm, without a doubt, is Juna. I actually think this is one of the best tracks that was released this year. The instrumentation on this album is crazy. Whole thing kind of sounds like that. So give it a listen if you want a chill vibe. All right, moving up to my number 9 favorite album, we have Orion by Orion Sun. You would like Orion Sun if you like heartfelt, crazy smooth music. And Orion has some great songwriting, but my favorite is probably These Days. Keep my head above water. Keep my head above water. Really great production across the whole project. Anyway, enough good stuff. Let's drag something. Dipping into my worst albums list for a second. It pains me to say, but my number 5 worst album I've heard this year actually comes from an artist that I really like, or I kind of have a I want to like relationship with this person. Jesse Volume 4 by Jacob Collier. You would like Jacob Collier if you like music theory. And I like Jacob Collier. I think he's one of the most talented musicians kind of alive right now. But dear God, is he a reminder that talent doesn't always translate to fun? And so even though this album's not offensive or anything, I went into it wanting to have fun and I just struggled to do so. I think my least favorite track on the whole album is probably Witness Me by Jacob Collier featuring Shawn Mendes, Stormzy, Kirk Franklin. I feel like this entire album is doing too much, or like even worse, it kind of oscillates between doing way too much and then being extremely basic in other parts. I don't know. Again, I find Jacob's music to be objectively interesting from a music theory perspective, but sometimes I just want to vibe, and I don't know, for me this album was not the vibe. Very disappointing, but it's okay. He has a lot of great stuff. Anyway, getting back to albums I actually liked, we have my number 8 pick for top albums, Hyde Inside by Hyde. Hyde is honestly like a legend in my opinion, and you would like his music if you like music that just rocks. I'm honestly resisting the urge to just go back and play all of his old stuff right now. But anyways, staying focused, my favorite track on this album for sure is Believing in Myself. Also, this man is literally 55. Like, seriously, the career is legendary, and to put out music that still rocks this hard at this point in your career, amazing. All right, moving up once more, we've got my number 7 pick. Imaginal Disc by Magdalena Bay. You would like Magdalena Bay if you just like chaos, but like beauty throughout the chaos. They make some of my favorite pop music to exist, honestly. And picking a favorite track from this album is so painful. I may just be basic and pick the intro, She Looked Like Me. Honestly, just sign me up for anything Magdalena Bay does. I'm in. Anyway, the vibes are getting too good, so I'm gonna go back to my worst list for a second and pick one more. My number 4 worst album, if you even want to call this an album, is the 23 minutes of music that Ice Spice released called Y2K. And I'm gonna be honest, this is just insanely cringe to me. I mean, not even just the fact that we have songs on here called Fart and Fat Butt, but just the fact that Ice Spice seems to be kind of confused as to like who she is or what she means. For my least favorite, I might pick Plenty Sun, because this track is just not it. Actually, I changed my mind. I'm picking Popa. It's so funny how many of these tracks could feasibly be considered to be the worst one, but nah, her delivery on this is so trash.
He got a stupid bitch. And he left that bitch cause I'm a cooler bitch.
Incredible songwriting. Ice, thank you for that. I love it. Moving on, for the love of God, let's bring back the bonus categories. This is another mini 3-pack of projects that technically don't fit in my albums list. Not because they're EPs this time, but albums from 2023 that I'm still obsessed with. Thus, I've chosen to put them in this video anyway. And my number 3 album from last year that I just cannot stop playing is This Is Why by Paramore. Honestly, I'm so mad that this came out last year. I want it on my 2024 list so badly. You would like Paramore if you like loud feelings. That's the best way I can put it. Though honestly, they dip into a lot of quieter music as well, especially on this album. And man, if I had to pick a favorite track, it might be Liar, because the bridge is honestly one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard. But then I almost want to pick a favorite Loud song as well, because they have those too. I'm going to pick Crave, because the lyrics are really, really great. Also, I just love Haley's voice so much. Anyway, the number 2 album I keep playing from 2023 is Census Designated by Jane Remover. You would like Jane Remover if you like shoegaze, experimental pop, really heavy, sad stuff. And from Census Designated, my favorite track is actually the title track. Honestly, she's one of my favorite artists. Like, I can't even cap right now. But my number 1 album from last year is In the End It Always Does by The Japanese House. You would like The Japanese House if you like somewhat dejected yet strangely jaunty indie pop. Full transparency, I've been following her for almost 10 years at this point. And you know how everyone has those artists who manage to drop the exact right project at the exact right time in your life? The Japanese House is so that for me. And I mean, how dare you make me choose a favorite from this album? But I guess the track I'm going with is Boyhood. It's just a truly devastating experience to listen to. Kind of realizing like, oh, well, my childhood is over. There goes my chance to live authentically. Real. The whole album is real. Anyway, crumbling up that bonus list and tossing it, let's sort through some more of my top albums. So we're moving up to number 6. Things are getting real good. And my pick is Birdseye by Raven Lenae. You would like Raven Lenae if you like perfect R&B music. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but she just so completely understands the assignment every single time. I might say my favorite is Love Is Blind, even though this is one of those albums where all the songs just blend together into like a vibe. Big fan, love it, ultimate Raven Lenae stan for sure. Also, for context, when I say I stan people, I don't actually stan anybody, because actually, the more I like music, the more I tell myself, let me just never Google anything about this person. Some artists are just too good. You don't want them to break your heart because you find out they're crazy or something. But Raven, for sure, gets my cosign. All right, we're now entering the upper half of my top 10. Top 5 is kind of a big deal, and my number 5 spot goes to Mika's Laundry by Matt Champion. You would like Matt Champion if you like a weird mix of experimental and electronic production, and I think my favorite track is Aphid featuring Dijon. This is also because I love everything Dijon touches. You say hallelujah for me, so I know you are. Good stuff. Anyway, I'm sure you're interested in the top 4, but you know I have to interject with some more trash. We're not going to talk about it. You can't make me devote another brain cell to this album. But 143 by Katy Perry is my number 3 worst album. Also, if you're like, hold up, pause. what are the 2 albums you heard this year that are worse than 143? Just you wait, is all I can really say to that. Anyways, back to the good stuff. Number 4. The higher we get, the more these albums like rewired my brain chemistry. Empathogen by Willow was definitely in my top albums. You would like Willow if you like an artist who is not afraid to cycle through different sounds. And right now, she is in her weird, jazzy, experimental era, and I could not be more for it. And I think Symptom of Life is not only the best track on her album, but probably one of the best songs she's ever released in her career.
Beauty is a symptom of life. Gotta decide if I'm gonna see it right.
The whole album is just like a trip through so many different modes and chord progressions and energies, and she nails all of it without a doubt. Anyway, if that was 4, we're now getting to my top 3, and that pick goes to My Twee Monsters by Tracy Breaks. You would like Tracy Breaks if you like highly affected hyperpop, super digital, very online type of music, but Tracy went like full experimental for this album, and by God did it work. My favorite track is probably Orphan Source, though Endorphin Heist and the intro track would also work, but nah, this music is crazy though. She did the most on this album, and I'm a big fan of all of it. So this actually leaves me with my top 2 albums and my bottom 2 albums. Let's talk about the second worst album I've heard all year. Infinite Icon by Paris Hilton. You would like Paris Hilton's music if you like Paris Hilton. That's the best way I can put it. I don't really love much of what I was hearing here. And really, I think this album just suffers from the exact same problem that Katy Perry's does. It's like pop music that is just too pop. Like, it just sounds too much like what it should sound like. But what makes it worse is that Paris's voice, the processing, the auto-tune. I feel like picking ADHD as my least favorite track might be a little iffy because I think she's trying to be very vulnerable on this track. But honestly, it's a no from me, dog.
My superpower was ADHD. Back on the road.
There were just so many campy, strange, derivative moments on this album, and I don't know, it doesn't work for me personally. So that leaves me with 3 more albums. The worst one I've heard this year, and my top 2. But before we get to those 3, I would like to give you my final bonus category. These 3 are albums that are not out yet, but ones that I am so hyped for. Yes, I put albums from last year in this video. Yes, you're getting albums that aren't even out yet. Don't worry about it. This all makes sense in my mind, and that's all that matters. My number 3 most anticipated album is Access All Areas by Flow. You would like Flow if you like girl groups, and that's it. There is no better way to sum it up. They are it. Like, they are the ones right now. My favorite single that's been released so far is Walk Like This. I just know in the bottom of my heart that that album is going to hit. Anyway, my second most anticipated album of the year, which is going to hit in a completely different way, I just know, is Perverts by Ethel Cain. You would like Ethel Cain if you are not put off by intense weirdness, graphic imagery, super dark stuff, even some songs that are straight up not fun to listen to. And yet, they are so skillful. It's not even about fun. It's about the experience. And so, I mean, she's only released 1 single so far for the album. So I guess that has to be my favorite. We've got the 6-minute and 47-second slow burn Punish by Ethel Cain. I couldn't explain why If My Life Depends on It, but I feel like Ethel just understands the assignment and the way many people don't for me. I think I've played the song Inbred like probably over 100 times. Great title, I know. Again, weird stuff, not for everybody, but for the love of God, I beseech thee, find out if it's for you, because this is some transcendental stuff. And that leaves the album I'm looking forward to the most next year, Eusexua by FKA Twigs. You would like FKA Twigs if you like, dare I say, weird music once again. I don't know. I just feel like if you have a choice between doing something that everyone is doing and doing something that maybe people are not doing for a reason, I would usually gravitate towards the latter, actually, because I just want to hear it with my own ears. And when people pull it off, it is incredible. My favorite single from the upcoming album is the title track. All of her music just makes me feel like I am literally floating away. The music videos that have come out are already crazy. The vibe is crazy. I'm just not ready for this album, clearly. But that was my last bonus category. We had upcoming albums, ones from last year, ones that weren't even albums. And now we'll get back to the 3 faded albums, my top 2, and the worst one I've heard. Oh God, so bad. So my second favorite album, so close to the top. And in fact, the only reason it's not my number 1 album is because the one there is just so absurdly spectacular, is Dunya. You would like Mustafa if you like very emotionally crafted folk music, sometimes with highly percussive elements. And on an album that was like incredibly beautiful, Name of God 100% is my favorite track.
When I'm tired,
If I had to pick like a favorite artist, I would spontaneously combust. There are too many talented people. But Mustafa is in the running because he is 2 for 2 with these albums. Crazy songwriter, beautiful stuff. I love it. And so now we've got the best and the worst. I'm gonna get the worst one out of the way because I don't want to end the video on this note. Vultures One by Kanye West and Ty Dolla $ign. Now, full transparency, I didn't listen to this album. Now, I know you're thinking, hold on, you can't just declare something the worst album. I don't care what you're thinking. Kanye West is a Nazi. I can say whatever I want. However, I actually am well within my right to put this here because I have heard music from the album because he's still Kanye West. So even if I chose not to hear it, it plays, you know? People listen, they meme it. The worst song, because it's the only one I've heard in full, is Back to Me, which has the worst songwriting I've ever heard in my sorry little life.
Beautiful big titty, but naked women just don't fall like the sky, you know.
I honestly just pretend Kanye West is dead. But without a doubt, Vultures, everything I've heard from that track, everything surrounding it, I am happy to put that as the worst album. There's no way I can say anybody else has a worse album. Anyway, I'm mad and sad. Let's get the vibes back. So who, out of all the artists in the world, released my favorite album this year? Was it Charlie XCX with Brat? No, but that was a really good album. Was it Billie Eilish with Hit Me Hard and Soft? It was not, though that was also a fantastic album. I feel like 2024 was one of the best years for music in a very long time. But no, my favorite album of the year, the one that just checked every box and I could not stop replaying, is What Happened to the Heart by Aurora. You would like Aurora if you want to be abducted by like alien sirens. Like just weird, ethereal, transcendental, mind-bending energy while somehow still being pop music. And What Happened to the Heart has so many tracks on here that are just beautiful, perfectly crafted. This is actually one of my favorite track listings of the year. I love the way this album is ordered. And I think my favorite track is Your Blood. If you ever feel like dust or dirt, just put on an Aurora track and then you'll remember, oh, I am dust and dirt, but it's actually completely fine. I don't believe purpose and self-worth always have to be internal. And when I listen to her music, I hear like this externalized self-worth, but that's just a theory, a depression theory. Anyway, those are the vibes. Sorry if I called an album you like trash. It's not because you have bad taste. I'm just only talking about my opinions here. But as you can see, the vast majority of the things I focused on this year were great music. I had so much fun with everything that came out. There's so much more music to look forward to. Like honestly, when I was younger and things used to be really bad, I would just use release dates as like reasons to stay alive. I'd be like, I can't kill myself or else I'll never get to play Kingdom Hearts 3. Things are a lot less intense nowadays, but I still very much use like release dates of music and games and media as something to look forward to because it's beneficial for someone like me to have something to look forward to. And so music means a lot to me. I love listening to it. I love making it. I don't release it because YouTuber music is not it. But yeah, big fan. Anyway, what I would like to know is if there's an album that you thought was fire. It's possible I've never heard of it, but the year is not over. So who knows? Maybe you could give me some late additions to my top list. Or maybe if you're feeling like problematic, you can just list a terrible album. Just drag somebody in the comments. I don't care. I'll put it on my awful list right there with you. But yeah, no, that's kind of it. We'll be back to our usually scheduled nonsense tomorrow. But thanks for watching. Bye.